And welcome to this special edition of Channel 6 Scoreboard. JD Williams here along with AJ Harper, Spencer Griffin. We are here where Coach Conk just got done announcing the new entries to UCA's football team. And let's get it started off, guys. Who are you most excited about?
To be honest, Jatavius Wilson, wide receiver, very athletic, 5'9", 170 pounds, out of Bastrop, Louisiana. In his senior season, he had 21 touchdowns. He has 47 career touchdowns, and they showed some of the highlight film, and he looked absolutely phenomenal. A great athlete. You could see that he could make it from sideline to sideline, make people miss, and I think he's going to be a great addition. And really, I think he's going to do a wonderful job replacing Jesse Grandy, the senior from who's had a couple of great seasons here at UCA.
I'm going to have to go with two people right here. One of them's right here from Conway, Arkansas, with Jeff Anderson, running back position. He's 6 foot, 210 pounds, and being around him in Conway, we've seen him play a little bit, and he's definitely a big back, but not only a big back, he can run pretty quick too and get around some of those defenders. And then the other person I wanted to mention was Darian Daniels from St. Louis, Missouri. They have him listed as an athlete, but Coach Conk said that they'll probably have him playing some return man, some running back, and some slot receiver. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, and we watched some tape of him, and it was pretty impressive, the explosiveness that he had. So I look for him to make a big impact, as well as Anderson.
Right, and who I'm looking at is Kelton Warren. Coach Conk came out and said, he's Brent Grimes with another gear. We saw that in his highlight tape. He was pulling away from guys. He really seemed to have that speed, and running back was a position UCA was kind of lacking at. They also got those 3 offensive linemen in state, so looking forward to seeing kind of how the Bears put all that together. Maybe.
Yeah. Running back is going to be a big deal. I mean, they've only got one scholarship athlete at running back, Willie Matthews. So they really were looking for a replacement. As you mentioned, all 3 of those guys are going to come in and add something. And Jeff Anderson is really something we haven't had here lately, a big back who will run people over. He is a track athlete, so he can run. But his role on this team will be to be that big back, the guy who gets the short yardage plays. And I think the offensive linemen that they brought in, 6 total offensive linemen, the most of any position, that's really going to help this running game.
I think Coach Conk really surrounded Winrick Smothers with some great players. I mean, you were talking about the offensive lineman that he brought in. Obviously, it's going to protect Winrick. He can sit back in the pocket, pick where he throws it, but he can also take off and scramble. We've seen him do that. And with the running backs, that's going to give UCA kind of a tandem attack. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball, they can really do whatever they want if all these pieces fall into place right.
Exactly. Winrick came in last year, didn't really have the offensive line and the running backs weren't that successful, and I would argue those are the 2 positions that have been improved the most, along with wide receiver. We've got an athlete coming in as well, a few JUCO transfers. So I think this team is really shaping up now. I think they're going to be in a great position. So let's finish off with this. You think UCA is going to be better next season? Do you think they're going to put it together and possibly get past that? They got to Georgia Southern last year, lost the game. You think they're going to get further this year?
To be honest, I've come out and said that I don't think they would be able to previous to this point in time because they lost their 2 leading receivers, seniors, and 3 leading running backs who were all seniors. And so the skill positions were depleted. But coming in here today, we saw 4 wide receivers plus an athlete who's going to play slot and running back, plus 2 more running backs that are for sure, 6 offensive linemen. I think this offense just absolutely got replenished. The defensive side of the ball we weren't as concerned about at the end of this past season, looking forward to next. But the offensive skill set and even the offensive line was a big concern. And I think that they solidified their chance to continue the success they've been having moving further into the playoffs just by adding the skill. I mean, if you go through and look, there's at least 3 receivers who are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". They said they were going after the Desmond Lewis and Dominique Kroom type of receiver, real tall and athletic. And I think the combination of that and the 5'9", 170-pound, a couple of slot guys, I think they're really going to be explosive next year with the Offensive Player of the Year, Winrick Smothers, coming back as a senior.
I absolutely agree. And like you said, we weren't too worried about the defensive side of the ball, but they did sign quite a bit of defensive players today. They signed a few defensive tackles, defensive backs, and they looked pretty impressive on the tape. So look for them to maybe even further strengthen that defense, and I think that'll help them get further in the playoffs than they have been in the past.
Yeah, I agree with that. Coach Conk brought in quite a class this year. Had a lot of, I think this team's definitely going to go further this year. They've replenished on that offensive side. They've really actually improved, really through just freshmen, it seems right now to us that they're going to be a lot better with the help of freshmen, and that's good for, on from next season. But next season, I think UCA is in a great position to challenge for that FCS title.
Yeah, I mean, next season is going to be a good season just based off of what we're seeing right now. But if you think about it, I mean, 2 and 3 years from now, just think about the possibilities. I mean, there was a lot of talent, and you don't quite know how everything's going to work out, but you've got to say they're giving themselves the best chance to continue this success that they've been having. And there were a lot of guys on this list that had offers from some good schools. There was a offensive lineman, Mallet, who had interest from Arkansas, Oklahoma State, and even got called on Friday by Stanford.
Right.
And Stanford's offensive linemen and defensive linemen are absolutely, that's the key to their program. So if Stanford was interested, there's got to be something there that we're not seeing. So we'll see how this class, they're coming in here interested in UCA. They chose UCA for the right reasons, clearly. And so I'm interested to see what they do once they get on campus and once spring practice starts on March 8th.
Yeah, I agree. The schools that have looked at these players definitely play a big part in how good they are, because obviously they've got good recruiters and they know what they're looking at, know what they're talking about. Some of these bigger D1 schools and even real big FCS schools have really showed a lot of interest in these guys, and in almost every one of these guys, everybody in the Southland Conference has looked at them, and for them to choose UCA over everybody else, especially the Sam Houstons, it really shows a lot of pride in the UCA Bears football team.
And there were a couple of guys who came from cities that have Southland Conference universities in their cities. Bossier City, I think, right. And Lake Charles, where McNeese is. There were a couple of recruits coming from there, so. Big statement on where UCA stands compared to their opponents in the Southland Conference. I completely agree.
And that will do it here at Wingo Hall. Quite possibly one of the most exciting days of the college football season, National Signing Day. Thank you for joining us here.